Well, welcome everybody. I'm excited to have you. Today we're going to talk about stress reduction. We have our guest speaker, Erilyn Sherry, here with us today. I said her name incorrectly, Arlen
That's okay.
Sherry with us. Thank you. Who's going to talk about some benefits about flotation therapy and then also talk about meditation mantra and give us an introduction to that as well. So we're excited to have her today, and I'm going to pass it on to her.
Okay, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to share about float therapy and mantra meditation today. My name is Arlen Sherry. I own Float Quad Cities, which is over in Moline, 911 16th Avenue. I'm also a certified holistic health and wellness coach, and I create and sing mantra meditation music, which utilizes Sanskrit mantras. So I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But I'm going to share my screen and I want to start just talking about float therapy a little bit. And then we'll end with the music. So stay through the whole thing because I want you to just be able to listen and kind of focus and feel uplifted with the music. So that was my main thing I wanted to offer. But we're going to start with talking about float therapy. So I'm going to share my screen real quick because I got stuff for you to look at here. All right. So this is Float Quad Cities here. And if you want to go read more about it, you can go to floatqc.com. I already mentioned I do health and wellness coaching. So that's my website there. And if you want to read anything on social media, you can look me up there. This is my music information. I have a separate social media and website for that too. So for float therapy, a lot of people don't know about this, but basically it's all about sensory deprivation. There is 11 inches of water and it's dissolved in, it has 1,100 pounds of Epsom salt dissolved in it. So it's a huge amount of salt and a little bit of water. So that makes like a 35 to 40% salt solution. It's incredibly buoyant. It lets your muscles just relax. It's close to zero gravity. So that means your muscles don't have to do any work. So they can just release the tension naturally, which people don't realize how awesome that is until they do it. And then the other part of the sensory deprivation is you can turn the light off and the music off. So it'll be totally dark and then really, really quiet, which is awesome for your brain. So then why should you care about these things and why does it help with stress? It's because we don't realize, most of us don't realize that we're bombarded with things every day, millions of inputs that things go like the traffic outside that you might not be paying attention to. Your brain and your body still has to process that. The light, all the stuff going on causes stress to our body. So, and stress is one of the main factors in sickness and disease. I'm sure you all are aware of that as well, because we're always talking about stress relief. And so, and being in chronic stress is a very not great state for your body. And it just makes life more miserable and harder. So stress relief and doing anything we can to really reduce our cortisol levels and stay out of that is really helpful because there is stress that we just can't avoid from life. Like I mentioned, with all the stuff going on all the time. So this is where float therapy really steps in to help people, helps you release stress, reduce pain. And real quick, there are actual studies, they're always doing more research, but there are studies that show an actual cortisol stress reduction from float therapy. You're just getting all the gravity off your body and it just really lets your body relax. It helps reduce pain. Again, it's close to zero gravity. So you it just helps your muscles just kind of relax and release that. And people notice less inflammation. People also generally notice that they sleep better. Helps release tension. And then people generally feel rested and recharged afterward. Sometimes people will take a nap for the whole hour. The floats are an hour long and they will just feel like brand new person. It's not like that groggy feeling if you take, at least when I take a nap, if I've taken a nap during the day, I feel groggy and not so great, but it's not that way when you float. So this is just some pictures of happy people floating. And the awesome thing that I love about float therapy is that your body does all the work. was just checking the chat there. Your body does all the work there, because all you're doing is laying on your back, floating. So you have to practice letting go, which is sometimes easier said than done, because most people have not been in a close to zero gravity environment. So it can take some time to really, for your muscles and your brain and everything to really trust and release. And like I said, you will be amazed at how just letting go really can release pain and just do so many things. It's different than massage, where someone is like actually manually manipulating things. This is your body just releasing and letting go. So this is a picture of the float rooms. They look in pictures and videos, they look a lot smaller than they really are. So keep that in mind. This door, you can leave it open. And this is a picture of the shower area. So you shower before, you get right in, and then you rinse off after. This is a picture of the dimensions. So the float rooms are 8 feet tall, 8 feet long, and then 4.5 feet wide. So they're really big. It's like a big walk-in closet. So the most common thing I hear is these are a lot bigger than I thought. Because if you Google around, you'll probably see smaller float tanks and things like that. The ones I have are big. They're called float cabins. So keep that in mind. Cleaning, the water is filtered in between every person. So it's sanitized with UV and ozone, and it goes through a bag filter, which is a 1 micron filter, which is really small. And I have a picture on the next page to show you what 1 micron looks like. I also have filled the water with reverse osmosis water. So it's filtered. So you're not laying in fluoride and chlorine. So that was important to me. So that's extra clean water. There's hydrogen peroxide added to the water as an oxidizer. And it gets new, fresh reverse osmosis and Epsom salt added every week. Plus you have the 1,100 pounds of Epsom salt. So it's naturally inhospitable to many bacteria and pathogens. So this is a picture of 1 micron. The 1 micron is over here with this red arrow. And it's compared to this big thing is a human hair. So 1 micron is a very small particle size. So that is what my filters are filtering out. I have some of the best filtration available for float tanks. It's another picture of the float room where it's dark and glowing and it's kind of cool. So sometimes I talk to people about a lot of their fears that keep people from coming to float. I've heard a lot of them. So one of them is that people are, worried about being claustrophobic or that they're going to be locked in. And that's absolutely not true. You're not going to be locked in anywhere. I'm not interested in trapping anyone. And I like to say that I have 100% float and release rate. That means everyone that's come to float has left successfully. So I've never locked anyone in. I'm sure you'd be hearing about it if I was doing that. So you can get out whenever you want. I generally recommend people stay and work through any kind of nervousness or anxiety that they're feeling, but you can get out whenever you want. So a lot of times that's enough just to help you relax a little bit. You can leave the door open if you want. The air in that shower area is cooler. So that can be helpful sometimes for people, but sometimes it can make you chilly, but you can open the door if you need. Because it is just passive airflow, not active. So some people like to have some cooler air. I already said you can get out whenever you want, and then I will not forget about you. Sometimes people are, because it feels like a time warp, because you're taking away all the distractions. So sometimes it can be like, how long have I been in here? It can feel fast or slow. And so I promise I won't forget about you. You won't be in there all day. I have lots of people that come and float, so I can't be having someone in there all day. So I'm skilled at making sure that you know when to get out. And I tell you that I give you an orientation before you come so that you know exactly how to know when to get out. It's the light. That's the main signal, just so you know. And then you will not drown. A lot of people don't believe, they've never been able to swim or anything, and they have a hard time believing that they're not going to drown. So that's one of the things that you have to prove to yourself. And that takes sometimes time for your brain and your body to trust, is that you won't drown. But you'll get in there and you see how buoyant it is. You see how hard it is to turn over on your stomach. It would be impossible to do unconsciously. And then you might surprise yourself. A lot of times I ask people, were you able to relax in there after their float? And they're like, yeah, surprisingly enough, I was. So a lot of times people are very surprised. They have this idea that they won't be able to stay in there more than 5 minutes. They won't be able to sit still, so you just have to be open to surprising yourself in this totally new environment. Most people have no reference point for how it's going to be. So, and I think I forgot to mention the temperature is warm, but more of a neutral temperature. So I keep it around 95 or so in the winter and a little cooler in the summer, but hot tubs and saunas run over 100 degrees. So it's not like a hot tub or sauna. So it's, again, the temperature is kind of different than what people are used to, because it's supposed to be more where when you lay down on your back and everything slows down, your blood pressure lowers, you kind of blend in with the water and ideally feel neutral with the water. So people do vary in temperature, but our bodies are awesome at adjusting. So, but that gives you an idea about the temperature. So this is just a couple more pictures of the float rooms. And these are some reviews. If you like to read about float therapy, you can go, I posted some on floatqc.com. If you Google Float Quad Cities, you can read the Google reviews. And then on Facebook, there are a bunch of reviews that people have left. And I've highlighted a couple that talk about claustrophobia, because sometimes people are really worried about that. It usually ends up being a non-issue, once people see the float room and kind of just feel more comfortable. It's usually more an issue of, this is something new, I've never done it before. So, and then the hours are Thursday through Monday, which includes Saturday and Sunday. There are 2 float rooms and you can float. The idea is to float on your own. With one person in each float room, but I do offer couples floats now where 2 people can float in the same float room, whether that's mother, child, or parent, child, and romantic couple or friends, or however you want. It's just 2 people, 2 adults that want to float together. That's worked really well for people who absolutely refuse to come and float on their own. Sometimes people have spouses that do that, or people who are extra terrified. It's just with couples float, you have someone else in there moving and things. So that can be a little of a hindrance to relaxing, especially on your first float. So I generally recommend trying to float on your own and then trying a couples float, but some people really do like it. They're in sync, and it's kind of a bonding experience. But a lot of times someone will fall asleep and start snoring and then bother the other person, or one person's afraid of moving and bothering the other person. So just can make it a little harder to relax. So you just got to kind of feel what you think would be best for you. And then the floats go on the even hours starting at 10 a.m. and the last one at 8 p.m. And all that's available online. Most people book online. It's pretty easy to do, but feel free to call if you have any questions or if you need help booking. Just a couple pictures. This is what it looks like on the outside. And this is a picture on the right of my harmonium. Sometimes I leave things laying around. I'm going to play the harmonium for you in a little bit. It's an Indian instrument, or it's an instrument from India that's used in mantra chanting a lot. And then when we're talking about stress relief, I wanted to talk about magnesium, because that is a huge component in stress, and most people are deficient in magnesium. I think also a lot of people take a magnesium supplement, maybe that's been prescribed by their doctor. And so you really, a lot of times people have digestive issues that magnesium can be harder to absorb. So I recommend, I'll get there in just a second, but so just look at what you're taking, because it might not be as absorbable as some other forms of magnesium. And keep in mind that we need a lot. It's used in over 300 processes in our body. And most people are deficient in it. Like I said, it's hard to get from the diet. There are plenty of foods that have it, but most of them are plant foods. And the data, shows that most people are not eating enough plants, enough fruit and vegetables. So you really need to consider supplementing. It's easily depleted by stress and when we overload our liver with toxins, because magnesium is required for glutathione production. And glutathione is the main chemical that our liver uses to detox and get the chemicals out of our body. So if we're deficient in magnesium, we're not going to be making glutathione very well. And so we're going to not be able to eliminate those toxins that we're overloading our liver with. So if we're overloading our liver with toxins from food, the air, and then our body creates toxins just by normal metabolic processes, it's using up that magnesium. So so you can see when you're stressed, you're using more. So you got to keep replenishing it. It's not stored in your body. And you can't take too much unless you take too much internally, then it becomes a laxative. But you can't take too much because it's water soluble. So your body just gets rid of it. And I forgot to mention too, I'm not a doctor or a licensed nutritionist or a registered dietitian. That's important to say. So any of this before any supplement or anything, you always need to check with your doctor. But this is just, I'm sharing some education for you about how magnesium works. So one of the ways you can supplement is with float therapy, because Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate. So that's a great way to get a big boost of it. And then I mentioned Natural Calm is an oral supplement, which is awesome. It can be hard on the digestive system, or not really hard, but if you have trouble digesting things, you might not be able to absorb as much, like I said. And it can be a laxative effect if you take too much. So you kind of go slow with that. But it's great to take before bed. And I take it also in the morning after I wake up, after my body's kind of regenerated at night. And I also use magnesium oil, which you put directly on your skin. So that is awesome because it bypasses your digestive system. So it's a more direct form as well. So you can just spray some on your feet. I also put it on my head sometimes if I get a headache, or my neck. And it really helps your muscles relax, but it can sting or tingle if you're putting it on other parts of your body. So the feet is usually a great option for that. I actually do all three of these things. I float, I take Natural Calm, and use magnesium oil because magnesium is that important. There are tons of other supplements and foods. What you eat and what you put in your body affects stress levels greatly. And then of course you have stress in your life that I personally had to take a look at all the things that were stressing me out in my life and make some changes too. Sometimes there are things that we can change that can help lower our stress. Now, I'd like to move into, I'm just going to look at the chat. Yep, that's the hardest part for me. But once I finally relax. Oh, yep, Ruby, yep. Thanks for chiming in. I'm glad you guys can hear me and everything. I'm just kind of like on a roll here. It is the hardest part with the float therapy, the letting go. I think the surrender aspect is huge. And that's why I recommend people try it a couple times. And I tell everyone this, but people don't always believe me, because sometimes the first float, if you're used to being distracted and on your phone all the time, you're used to having all this tension, it takes time to get used to being without those things. It can be very uncomfortable. And it's like yoga, you're not all stretched out after one. It's like anything else you do. If you try and change your eating habits, generally people don't go overnight and do that and never, go back to what the old things they were eating. It's all a process in changing your habit, and learning to let go is a huge thing for people. And it just takes practice. So, and trust, like I'd always say, like the first float's a lot about trust and everything. So, all right. That's all I have about the float therapy. If you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I'll come back briefly at the end. So I'd like to move into the mantra meditation, because this is really helpful for me. And my teacher, her name is Leanna Shanti. She introduced me to mantra way back in 2013, I think. And I believe it originated in India. And so the kind of, first of all, mantra is a Sanskrit word and it means mind tool. So for me, this is just a tool to help focus my mind. That's why I call it mantra meditation, which isn't my made up term. I mean, other people call it mantra meditation, but I like that term better. And so for me, when looking at meditation, I used to be completely disconnected from my body. It was hard for me just to sit and breathe. And it still kind of is, to focus and kind of get out of my head. So mantra meditation was awesome for me because I love to sing, and I like the words, the Sanskrit words. A mantra can be anything, any word, any color, your favorite color. It can be your pet's name. It's just something to focus your mind. So I sing Sanskrit mantras mainly. Sanskrit is an ancient language. It's like 3,500 years old. So it's known as the language of the gods. And it's more of an energy-based language. So the words are meant to convey the energy and the meaning of the word when you say it. The best word is shanti, which means peace in Sanskrit. So it's my favorite example because if you say peace over and over again in English, I don't want to say it too much because it has this popping sound, pop, pop, peace. That's not very peaceful if you think about it, right? So you have the word shanti and it starts out with the shanti, which is a more calming sound. So when you say shanti, shanti, shanti over and over, you're embedding that sound into your body. So if that gives you an idea, so when you sing shanti, you have the intention of peace. So you're verbally saying that to your body and you're putting that sound into your body and focusing that. So when combined with the singing and the mantra, it really helps me focus in on my body. It gives me something for my mind to do, and it gives me something to feel in my body. So when I was losing weight, I've lost 140 pounds. I kept it off 4.5 years now. But like I said, I was disconnected from my body, and I was using food for my whole life, like as a coping mechanism. I think a lot of people do that for stress and everything. So mantra was a huge thing for me to really connect with my body and start feeling love for myself and to feeling just, I don't know, just to get out of my head and just to connect with the love within myself. So that's why, and it's a great stress relief too. So I know there's research on these things about music and everything. I prefer, even with float therapy, I prefer to go by more anecdotal evidence. The scientific evidence is awesome. And that's what I use for the nutrition and things that I do with my body. But you just kind of have to experience things. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in needing proof for things. So, or we have fears and things that stop us, or I'm always speaking from experience. I'm talking about me. So a lot of times we all get stuck in a fear of doing something and needing proof and needing to know what it'll be like before I do it. And I've learned that a lot of times if I'm feeling drawn to something or feel like something is for me, I just have to do it. So with the mantra meditation, I'm gonna sing. I encourage you to sing with me. You might not know these words. It's okay if you don't say them correctly because it's more about your energy and your intention. I put them on the screen here. I'm going to talk about each mantra just a little bit so you know the idea of it, but try and sing it. If you don't want to sing it, you can try and hum or just repeat the mantra in your head. And for me, when I sing, and again, mantra practice is something that changes over time. You get better at it, you get deeper into it, you get more into the feeling as well. But when I sing, I feel the vibrations in my body and I feel less stress. I feel calmer because it's just spending that time out of your head, which is again is a practice. It just really can bring you back to center and everything. So I encourage you just to try it and then see how you feel. And that's what I say with float therapy. Try it, see how you feel, pay attention to how you feel afterward. And I love to share actual stories about float therapy. That's what I was trying to get at before when I was talking about anecdotal evidence. I like to share how other people experience it too, so that you're going on real world experience as well. So let's see, what time is it? Chat is okay, 18 minutes. Let's see. Is it okay if we go over, or I can just do it shorter? I was trying to not do the float therapy so long. I'm going to mute myself and move my microphone real quick.
Take as much time as you like.
Okay. Well, I had they're not too long. I had about half an hour so of the music. So I kind of wanted to do them all. So I'll just do them. If people want to leave, that's fine. But I'm going to mute the microphone because I got to move it real quick. Okay. And then I won't be able to hear you. I'm going to take my headset off as well, but I'll come back at the end. So I'm just going to go and you'll be able to hear me though, but I'm moving my microphone. Okay. So. Okay. All right, I'm back and you should be able to hear me. Okay. I tested this out earlier and I think it sounded okay. You know, anything with internet, I don't know, hopefully the sound quality will be okay, but I forgot to mention too that I sing twice a month. And I know this is echoey, sorry, but I sing twice a month at Omni Fitness Club, which is in Moline. The address is 2339 Fifth Avenue in Moline. It's just past Parkside Grill down there. And the next one is on March 6th, which is a Sunday at 4 p.m. and then March 20th at 4 p.m. And that's free if you'd like to come sing and listen in person and everything. And I put that information on my social media as well if you want to, and the float therapy, the float QC page as well. So if you're interested in coming to that, we're just going to start with Om. Om is a really nice way to bring everything, just to connect everything together. And Om is known as the primal sound, the sound from which all other sound originates. So it's kind of the unconditional love, the true source of unconditional love type thing. That was the harmonium that I mentioned earlier. It's a traditional instrument from India that I said is used in mantra chanting. It's really, I love that drone-like kind of meditative aspect of it. So, and you just play it kind of like a piano. All right, the next mantra I have on the screen is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. It's a Buddhist mantra for unconditional love. It's translated as the mystic law of karma. Well, it's the mystic law, which is karma and cause and effect, but essentially that is unconditional love. So it's a Buddhist mantra, and that word Nam is a Sanskrit word, but the words Myoho Renge Kyo are Japanese words. So the intention of this is just focusing on unconditional love. That's what I do. I like to focus on my heart a lot and kind of feel the vibrations in my heart and just ask for anything in the way of love, loving myself to be removed. And I mentioned earlier, just sing whenever you want. Kirtan is another name for mantra. It's a practice where I would sing and then you sing, but I like just for people to sing whenever they want, rather than doing the call and response type thing. So just sing whenever you feel comfortable. I encourage you to sing even if you don't know the words, because you're going to learn faster that way. So here we go.
Okay, that was Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. I forgot to mention too that all of my music is on Spotify as well, and you can find that by going to arlencherrymusic.com, and I think it's on Apple, and I put things on YouTube, SoundCloud, and I post on my social media. So it's all, you can find it. All of it's free, basically. I have some longer ones that are 30 minutes long, so it's pretty awesome just to like give yourself that time to really sink into it. And I wanted to mention too, because someone asked me at my last mantra night about the mantra. If I don't practice any particular religion, I just practice unconditional love and learning to love myself unconditionally. So this did originate in India, and obviously they have their the Hindu religion, and then you have Buddhism. I don't know a lot about all of those things, but anyone can practice mantra because it's just connecting to the love, the divine within yourself. So it's not related to any religious practice. So for the next one, which is Jai Ma He Ma Durga, I talk about, in the Hindu religion, they have different gods and goddesses as well. In Buddhism, they have various deities. And it's not about worshiping those deities or anything. They just represent different aspects of the divine, of love, unconditional love. And really, I talk about the different meanings of the mantras and everything, but to me, they all go back to unconditional love. So this next mantra, the word Jai in Sanskrit means victory, and then Ma is mother, and then you have Hey Ma Durga. Durga is one of the Hindu gods or goddess, and she represents warrior strength and fierceness, protection. She's depicted as riding a tiger, and she has swords and everything. So she's like a warrior for truth and everything. And she's also a very good representation of the divine feminine. So I don't even really think about the goddesses like that. I just work on feeling that warrior, that strength, energy within me. So when I sing these mantras and like the victory of the mother and the nurturing aspects, and a lot of that has been taken away from us. So I like to, so that's what I do when I chant mantra. People practice mantra lots of different ways. I use it as a tool on my healing path. Some people feel it is their healing path. They chant mantra, and that's the way that they heal. I use it as a tool. So you can always read about it. I just like to share how I use it and how you can use it in your life. Like I used it with losing weight and to connect to love. And I still use it obviously to help get out of my head. So I just wanted to mention that because I also have a song that I call my Jesus song, which is I Am the Way. And Jesus is just unconditional love. I don't relate that to religion either. So just that whole, just I am love type thing. but I'm not singing that one today, but I just wanted to give you the idea of that. So the next one is Jai Ma Hey Ma Durga. And I thought I mentioned that last one I did was I was just singing to a track that I created. I create all those layers with my voice and the harmonies and everything. And I do play the harp and the piano, but I created that on my computer to put it all together with the harp and the piano. So I have kind of like a background track to sing to because it's really complicated to try and do all of that live. I could do that, but that's a lot of work. But so now I'm moving back to the harmonium. I'm actually playing the harmonium and singing with it. So it's just me and the harmonium for this one. So feel free to sing with. Jai Ma, 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 Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga Ma, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga. Jai Ma, 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 Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga Ma, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga Ma, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga. Jai Ma, 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 Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga Ma, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Okay, that was Jema Hema Durga. Sometimes I get so wrapped up in it and I forget what my fingers are doing. But that one just feels like I don't it this the music I've created just really feels like the intention of it. It feels like victory and just love, and I even feel some of that strength and the nurturing from that mothers are known for. So with that one. So I hope you like that one. And then the last one is Om Shanti Ganesha Sharanam. I mentioned earlier that Shanti means peace. And so you have that shh, that calming sound, the shh sound. And then Ganesh is one of the gods, the Hindu gods, and he has an elephant head. So he represents obstacle removal. And the elephant image is perfect because you can just picture an elephant kind of like barreling through, knocking everything out of the way in your life that's in the way. And sometimes those things, in my experience, aren't always what you think they should be. So if you ask for obstacle removal, you gotta be open to whatever comes to you. But that's the idea, is removing any obstacles in your life and asking for that love to be manifested in your life, I guess. And then the word Sharanam means refuge in Sanskrit. So Ganesha Sharanam is a mantra, and then I've combined it with Om Shanti. I don't know if other people do that or not, but I combined it with Om Shanti. So we have Om Shanti, Ganesha Sharanam, and I like to focus on removing all obstacles that are preventing me from taking peace and refuge in my heart, the unconditional love, because I found the more I love myself, that's the only safe place I have, because we can't control other people from saying what they're going to say, doing what they're going to do. We can only control what is in our heart, and having that safe space and loving ourselves within our heart. So that is what this mantra represents to me. I like to focus on my heart and having any of those obstacles removed, any of the negative thoughts, the unloving things from my heart. Shanti, Om Shanti Shanti, Ganesha Sharanam, Ganesha Sharanam, 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 Shanti, Om Shanti Shanti, Ganesha Sharanam, Ganesha Sharanam Shanti Om Shanti Shanti Ganesha Sharanam Ganesha Sharanam Shanti Om Shanti Shanti Ganesha Sharanam Ganesha Sharanam Shanti Om Shanti Shanti Ganesha Sharanam Ganesha Sharanam. Okay, and so that's what I have for you. Give me a second to get back to my other microphone, okay?
Okay. I can hear you again if you want to talk.
Hi. Looks like it's just the two of us now, but I was wondering,
Okay.
Are the phrases that you chose, are those like universal, everyone uses them, or did you uniquely choose these like combinations of words to make your own mantra?
Well, these are pretty typical mantras. Yeah, Om, and Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo is a core mantra of the Buddhist tradition. So that is their mantra. It's been used for, thousands of years. And then Jai Ma, Hey Ma, Durga. I don't know if people sing that together or not. Jai Ma is its own mantra. And then Hey Ma, Durga is its own mantra. I don't know if people combine them or not. So it's kind of like what I mentioned with the Om Shanti Ganesha Sharanam. I don't think people combine those. But they're like mantras on their own. And so some of them I did combine and put together. So, and then I mentioned my song, I Am the Way earlier. It actually is combined with another Sanskrit mantra. So it's English and Sanskrit. So, so sometimes I do combine them, but they are all mantras on their own too. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So hopefully I saw the note. But sometimes it kind of went in and out because I did some test recordings and I don't know if it was the internet or my microphone or whatever. So hopefully most of
It
it
was
was
only
okay.
during that
So-
first one, and for the rest
First
of
one?
like the long ones, it worked just fine.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. Yeah, it sounded okay. And then, so the mantras aren't mine, but the music all is. I saw you asked another question. So I created all the music on my own. That's all original music. So
That's really cool. I'm so proud
Yeah.
of you for like accomplishing all this. I've never
Thanks.
had any exposure to this, so I was really excited to learn about it and get to talk to you again. So thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming and
You're welcome.
hanging out with us. And I'm not sure. Sarah was here for most of the time. She
That's
only
okay.
like I think after the JMA one. But thank you again for taking the time to come speak with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. I appreciate sharing it. And like you said, I had never heard of mantra before. And sometimes, it's part of a different tradition and everything. And sometimes people have like ideas about those things. And so I just like sharing it with people because it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't relate to any religion. You don't have to be anything specific to sing a mantra. It's just these unconditional love, and it's for everyone. It's just a different way of meditating, and kind of connecting with yourself. So yeah, it's
I
a lot of
definitely
people
didn't
haven't
know
heard
that
about it.
before.
So
I'm glad.
yeah.
I feel feel a lot more culturally aware. So.
Yeah, and I don't know a whole lot about the culture either, just from what I've read and everything, obviously. So that's what I mean. I just kind of do my own thing. And actually, if you go listen to a lot of it, it does have a lot of it does have a distinct, there are different sounds, and people kind of do their own thing as well. But there is a lot that does sound very from India in nature as well. So, but it's just everyone does something different a lot of times. So, yep.
Well, thank you again.
You're welcome.
Go ahead and end the call at this point. I hope you have a
Okay.
wonderful rest of your day, Arlen.
You too. Thank you for having me.
You have a
Bye-bye.
good one.